There comes a time in life when you must pause and ask yourself, am I living for me, or am I living to please everyone else? Too often, we confuse kindness with weakness and politeness with the loss of self-respect. Today, I want to remind you that it's not only okay, it's necessary to stop being nice to everyone. There comes a moment in life when you realize that being overly nice is not the same as being truly kind. Too often, if we silence our truth just to keep others comfortable, we hold back our opinions, our feelings, and even our pain because we fear upsetting someone. But when you keep doing this, you begin to lose your own voice. You become a version of yourself that exists only to please others. And in that process, your true self starts to fade away. Being authentic is far more powerful than being agreeable, because your truth has value, and the world deserves to hear it. Sometimes, we shrink our dreams so others won't feel insecure. We pretend to be less ambitious, less capable, and less deserving than we really are, all in the name of being nice. But why should your light dim just because someone else doesn't want to shine? Your dreams were placed in your heart for a reason, and they are not meant to be silenced to protect someone else's comfort. When you continue to smile while your heart is breaking, you end up carrying a burden that no one else sees, and the weight of it steals your peace. There are people who will take advantage of your patience, thinking it's permission to use you. They hear every yes and forget that you also have the right to say no. And every time you ignore that small voice inside of you that wants to refuse, you lose a little piece of yourself. Saying no is not rude, it's not unkind, it's not selfish. It is a declaration that your life matters as much as anyone else's. And if someone cannot respect your no, they don't truly respect you. Being overly nice often makes you apologize for things that are not even your fault. It teaches you to carry guilt that doesn't belong to you. But you are not responsible for how others choose to see you or treat you. When your worth depends only on how much you serve other people's needs, you forget that you too are a person with needs, with desires, with dignity. Your silence then becomes mistaken for weakness, and before long, you realize that the only person not receiving your love and respect is you. Kindness without boundaries is dangerous. Love without self-respect is destructive. You must learn that protecting your heart is not selfish. It is survival. Choosing peace does not mean pleasing everyone. It means honoring your soul. It means choosing quality connections over large circles that drain your energy. It means speaking your truth even when your voice trembles. And it means holding on to your dreams, even when others find them inconvenient. You are not on this earth to win everyone's approval. Not everyone will like you, and that's perfectly fine. What matters is that you live true to yourself, unapologetically. You are not defined by how nice you are or how many people you please. You are defined by your strength, your truth, and your authenticity. Stop being nice at the cost of your dignity, because the world doesn't need another person who hides who they are. The world needs you, real, whole, and unafraid to shine. There comes a point in life when you realize that constantly being nice to everyone is not the same as being kind, and it is certainly not the same as being true to yourself. Sometimes being nice means silencing your voice just to keep others comfortable, and in doing so you slowly erase the very person you were created to be. The truth is, your words, your feelings, and your boundaries matter, and every time you bury them to avoid conflict, you teach others that your needs don't count. A life lived only to please others may look polite on the outside, but inside it feels like slowly disappearing, and that is no way to live. There are moments when we shrink our dreams because we don't want to make others feel small, and we pretend to want less than we truly desire so that no one feels threatened. But why should your vision be diminished so someone else can feel secure? Dreams are not accidents, they are seeds planted deep in your heart, waiting to grow. If you keep shrinking them, you don't protect anyone. You only starve your own soul. Being nice is never a good reason to hide your potential, because no one benefits from a life unlived. Too often, we keep smiling while our hearts are breaking, because we don't want to burden anyone with our pain. We say yes when everything in us wants to say no, and we think that sacrificing our peace makes us good. But in reality, saying yes to everything and everyone is slowly saying no to yourself. The people who truly value you will never want you to destroy yourself for their comfort. And those who exploit your endless patience are not worthy of your silence, your time, or your kindness. Being overly nice can trap you in a cycle of unnecessary apologies, where you carry guilt that does not belong to you. You end up apologizing for things that were never your fault, while excusing those who misuse your trust. In the process, your worth begins to feel like it depends only on how much you can serve, obey, or sacrifice. That is not love, it is exploitation. And when your silence is mistaken for weakness, you become invisible in the very relationships where you deserve to be seen and respected the most. True kindness has boundaries, and real love includes self-respect. Protecting your peace is not selfish, it is survival. You have the right to choose who earns your time and energy, and you have the right to walk away from circles that drain you. You must remember that not everyone is meant to be pleased. Not every opinion is worth your effort, and not every relationship is worth your sacrifice. The courage to say no, to stand tall, and to protect your heart will always serve you more than endless niceness ever could. At the end of the day, you are not here to win everyone's approval. Not everyone will like you, and that is perfectly fine. What matters is that you remain true to yourself, that you honor your dreams, and that you live with dignity. Stop confusing being nice with being valuable. Your worth does not depend on pleasing others. Your worth depends on your authenticity, your strength, and your ability to live without apology. The world doesn't need you to be endlessly nice. It needs you to be real, bold, and unafraid to shine. There are times in life when you wear a smile on your face, even though your heart is breaking into pieces inside. And you do it because you don't want others to worry, or because you think keeping the peace is more important than expressing your pain. But every forced smile is like another brick added to the wall between who you really are and what you show the world. If pretending to be fine when you are not only drains your spirit, but also robs you of the chance to be truly understood. Life is not meant to be lived in performance. It is meant to be lived in truth, even if that truth makes others uncomfortable. When you keep hiding your pain behind a smile, you are teaching yourself that your emotions don't matter, that your feelings are not worth being seen. But the truth is, vulnerability is not weakness, it is strength. Allowing yourself to admit you're hurting gives others permission to be real as well. The most powerful connections are not built on endless politeness, they are built on honesty. Smiling through pain may make others feel at ease, but it leaves you alone in your struggle, carrying a weight that grows heavier with every silent day. People may call you strong because you never show your tears, but strength is not in suppressing your emotions. It's in facing them. It's in saying, I am not okay right now, and that's human. Every time you cover your wounds with a smile, you deny yourself the healing that comes from being open. You deserve to be around people who can handle both your laughter and your tears, people who don't require you to wear a mask to be loved. If you keep smiling through heartbreak just to keep everyone else comfortable, one day you will look in the mirror and not recognize yourself anymore. You will see the mask, but not the person underneath. And that is when you realize the cost of being too nice. It steals your authenticity. It steals your freedom. It steals your peace. Smiles should never be used as bandages to cover wounds that need to breathe. Choosing to stop being nice in this way means choosing to honor your own emotions. It means allowing your face to reflect your truth, even when that truth is messy, painful, or inconvenient. It means respecting yourself enough to say, I don't owe anyone a performance. By doing so, you don't push people away, you actually draw the right people closer because they finally get to meet the real you. So, stop smiling just to hide your broken heart. Let your smile be genuine, not a mask. Let your emotions be real, not buried. You do not need to protect the world from your pain. You need to protect yourself from the illusion that being endlessly nice, endlessly cheerful, is the only way to be loved. Real love, real respect, and real connection come when you stop pretending and allow yourself to simply be. If there comes a point when you realize that patience, though it is a virtue, can easily be misinterpreted by the wrong people. Patience is meant to be a strength, a sign of wisdom, and an ability to wait with grace, but when others mistake it as permission, they begin to take advantage of it. You keep giving chances, and you keep excusing behavior, and you keep telling yourself that maybe, just maybe, they will change. But instead of change, what you receive is disappointment, because they see your tolerance as an open invitation to cross boundaries again and again. Every time you stay silent when someone disrespects you, they believe it is acceptable. Every time you tolerate what you should not, they learn that your limits can be pushed further. And slowly, what was once patience turns into a doorway for others to misuse your kindness. You begin to notice that the more you endure, the less they value you. The weight of it grows heavier, not because you are weak, but because you keep giving people the space to misuse your strength. There is nothing wrong with being patient, but patience without boundaries is like a fire left unattended. It burns everything around it. The truth is, people will only treat you as well as you demand to be treated. If you keep allowing them to take advantage of your calm nature, they will never see a reason to respect your limits. Patience should not mean endless tolerance of disrespect. It should mean choosing peace while also protecting your dignity. Sometimes you confuse patience with love, thinking that enduring pain for the sake of others makes you noble. But love without respect is not love at all. Real love honors boundaries. It listens, it adjusts, and it values you as much as you value the other. When someone repeatedly tests your limits and you remain silent, you are not showing them love. You are teaching them how to continue hurting you without consequences. Learning to say, enough, does not make you unkind, it makes you wise. Setting limits is not about pushing people away. It is about teaching them where you end and where your worth begins. It is about reminding yourself that you deserve relationships that nurture you, not ones that drain you. Patience has power, but only when it is balanced with self-respect. So, stop being nice when people mistake your patience for permission. Your patience should be a gift, not something others exploit. Give it to those who appreciate it, not to those who abuse it. Protect your time, your energy, and your heart, because they are too valuable to be wasted on people who cannot recognize their worth. The moment you honor your boundaries, the world begins to treat you the way you should have been treated all along. There are moments when the word yes rolls off your tongue even though every part of you wants to scream no. You say yes because you don't want to disappoint anyone, because you don't want to appear selfish, because you've been conditioned to believe that pleasing others is more important than honoring yourself. But every forced yes is a quiet betrayal of your own heart. Each time you ignore that inner resistance, you push your own needs further into the shadows, and eventually, you forget what they even look like. Saying yes all the time might make you look reliable to others, but inside it leaves you exhausted, drained, and resentful. People may praise you for being dependable, for always being there, for never saying no, but they don't see the toll it takes on you. They don't feel the heaviness in your chest when you agree to something that doesn't serve you. They don't hear the silence of your soul crying for space, for rest, for respect. You become a hero to others while slowly becoming a stranger to yourself. When you say yes too often, you unintentionally teach people that your time, your energy, and your life are always available for them. And the truth is, people will take what you give, not always out of malice, but because you never show them your limits. Every yes without boundaries is an invitation for someone to expect more, and soon, their expectations become endless. In trying to avoid letting anyone down, you end up letting yourself down the most. The power of no is often misunderstood. No does not mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you are unkind. It doesn't mean you are selfish. No means you understand the value of your own life. No means you are protecting your energy so that when you do say yes, it comes from a place of truth, not pressure. No is a full sentence, one that requires no explanation, no apology, and no guilt. It is not your job to carry everyone's requests on your shoulders. It is not your responsibility to meet every demand, solve every problem, or fulfill every expectation placed upon you. If you spend your whole life saying yes to everyone else, one day you will realize that you never gave yourself permission to say yes to your own dreams. And that loss will hurt more deeply than any disappointment you could have caused by saying no to someone else. So, stop being nice when yes is costing you your peace. Listen to that small voice inside you that knows when something isn't right for you. Honor it, respect it, and follow it. Because the moment you start saying no to the things that drain you, you begin saying yes to the life you truly deserve. There are times when being nice comes at the cost of your mental peace. And that is the most expensive price you will ever pay. You tell yourself that keeping harmony is more important than your inner calm, so you tolerate things that gnaw away at your well-being. You say yes when you're tired, you smile when you want to rest, and you remain silent when every part of you wants to speak. And slowly, you begin to notice that your mind feels heavy, your heart feels restless, and you are no longer at ease within yourself. Mental peace is not something that can be traded or borrowed. It is the foundation of your life. Without it, every success feels hollow and every relationship feels shaky. When you compromise your peace for the sake of being liked, you carry a burden that never truly leaves you. Even in quiet moments, your mind keeps replaying conversations, arguments, and regrets because you chose the comfort of others over your own serenity. The truth is, no approval in the world is worth losing the stillness of your soul. Every time you let people's expectations dictate your choices, you plant seeds of anxiety in yourself. You worry about what they think, how they feel, and whether they are pleased, while ignoring your own exhaustion. This constant tension is not kindness. It is self-neglect disguised as generosity. Peace cannot coexist with constant people-pleasing, because peace requires honesty, and people-pleasing often demands that you abandon yourself. When your mind is restless, even small problems feel overwhelming. Tasks that once felt simple now seem unbearable, because your energy is consumed by maintaining appearances. You begin to question yourself, to doubt your worth, and to feel trapped in cycles of overthinking. This is the hidden cost of being too nice. You sacrifice your clarity, your joy, and your ability to rest. No amount of gratitude from others can restore what you lose when your inner calm is destroyed. Choosing your mental peace does not mean you stop caring about others. It means you start caring about yourself too. It means learning to step away from situations that drain you, saying no when your mind feels crowded, and protecting your energy as if it were treasure, because it is. It means being brave enough to disappoint others so you don't have to keep disappointing yourself. Your peace is sacred, And the people who truly love you will never ask you to give it up just to keep them happy. So stop being nice when it costs you the calmness of your heart. Stop apologizing for choosing your well-being over someone else's comfort. The highest form of strength is not in pleasing everyone, but in protecting the stillness within you. Because once you lose your peace, nothing else feels whole, and once you protect it, everything else begins to fall into place. There is a habit so many people carry without even realizing it. The habit of apologizing for things that were never their fault. You say sorry when someone bumps into you, sorry when you don't have the answer, sorry when you simply take up space. That word becomes so automatic that it loses its true meaning. An apology is meant to heal, to mend, to take responsibility. But when you use it to excuse your very existence, it turns into a chain that keeps you small. Constantly saying sorry when you've done nothing wrong is not humility, it is self-erasure. Every time you apologize unnecessarily, you send a message to yourself and to others that your presence is a problem. You shrink before you've even been asked to. You surrender before anyone has even criticized you. And slowly, you begin to carry guilt that was never yours to hold. The more you practice it, the more natural it feels, until one day you realize that you're living as though you are always at fault, even when you've done nothing wrong. That is not kindness. That is a misunderstanding of your worth. This habit doesn't just affect how you see yourself, it also shapes how others treat you. When you take blame that doesn't belong to you, people start expecting it. They come to believe that you will always be the one to bend, to explain, to smooth things over. And the painful part is some people will take advantage of that. They will let you carry the weight of every misunderstanding because you've shown them that you'll willingly do it. That weight, over time, becomes unbearable, leaving you drained and resentful. It is important to understand that your value is not tied to how often you say sorry. Your worth does not increase because you take responsibility for things you didn't cause. Real strength comes from being honest. Honest enough to admit when you are wrong, but also honest enough to stand tall when you are not. An unnecessary apology is not grace. Sometimes it is a mask to cover fear, and living in fear of disapproval will only strip you of your authenticity. Choosing to stop apologizing for everything doesn't mean you become arrogant or cold. It means you start respecting yourself enough to take ownership only where it is truly yours. It means using sorry with intention, so that when you do say it, it carries weight and sincerity. It means learning new words to replace it. Thank you for understanding. I appreciate your patience. Let's try again. These words don't diminish you. They honor both you and the other person. So stop being nice when it makes you apologize for existing. Stop being nice when sorry becomes a reflex that keeps you small. Your life is not a mistake. Your dreams are not inconveniences. Your presence is not a burden. Save your apologies for when they matter and let the rest go. You do not owe the world constant apologies. You owe yourself the courage to stand in your truth without shrinking. There is a dangerous trap many people fall into, and it hides beneath the disguise of kindness. It is the belief that your worth depends on how much you do for others, how well you serve their needs, and how easily you set your own aside. You begin to measure your value not by who you are, but by how useful you can be. At first, it feels noble to always be available, to always give, to always carry more than your share, but slowly you start to realize that you've built your identity on meeting demands instead of honoring your own soul. When your sense of worth is tied to serving others, you end up living a life of constant performance. You wake up every day wondering not what you need, but what others expect. And if for a moment you fail to meet those expectations, guilt creeps in and convinces you that you are less. You find yourself exhausted, not because you're incapable, but because you are living a life that does not allow space for your own needs. You've given so much of yourself away that you forget what it feels like to simply exist without proving your value. The painful truth is that people will often take what you give without questioning what it costs you. They will grow used to your sacrifices, expecting them as if they are a natural part of your character. And the more you serve without boundaries, the less they pause to notice your humanity. They begin to see you only as a role you play for them, rather than as a person with dreams, emotions, and limits. That is the danger of tying your worth to service. It teaches others to see you as replaceable, even while you are irreplaceable. There is nothing wrong with helping others, but when your entire identity depends on it, you lose the ability to recognize yourself outside of that role. Who are you when you are not giving? Who are you when you are not fixing? Who are you when you are not carrying the weight of everyone else's world? If those questions make you feel empty, it means you've been living through others and not through yourself. That emptiness is a sign that you've been neglecting the most important responsibility of all, the responsibility to care for your own life. To reclaim your worth, you must remind yourself that you are valuable simply because you exist. You are not defined by how much you serve, how much you sacrifice, or how much you give away. You are worthy because you are human, because you breathe, because you are alive. Service is powerful when it flows from a place of fullness, not emptiness. When you give out of abundance, your love is real. When you give out of pressure, your love becomes a transaction. Learning the difference sets you free. So stop being nice when your entire value is measured by what you can do for others. Stop making your existence a tool for approval. Your worth is not in your usefulness, it is in your being. Learn to serve from love, not from fear. Learn to give without erasing yourself. And most importantly, learn to remember that you matter, even when you do nothing at all. Silence can be one of the most powerful responses you ever give. It can show wisdom, patience, and the ability to rise above unnecessary conflict. But the problem begins when people misinterpret that silence. They see you holding back your words and assume you are afraid to speak. They take your calmness as weakness, your restraint as inability, and your quiet as consent. Over time, your silence becomes a tool in their hands, is something they use to continue treating you in ways you do not deserve. When you stay silent for too long, people stop hearing your voice altogether. They assume you will accept whatever they say or do because you've shown them no reason to expect resistance. And in their minds, silence means agreement. They forget that silence often hides storms, that behind it may be pain, frustration, or even strength waiting for the right moment to rise. The longer you remain quiet, the easier it becomes for others to erase your boundaries and ignore your worth. It is important to understand that silence, while noble in some moments, can also be dangerous in others. It can protect your peace when arguments are unnecessary, but it can also protect the wrongdoer when truth needs to be spoken. If you are quiet every time someone crosses the line, you are not only allowing them to do it again, you are teaching them that your boundaries don't exist. And when people believe your boundaries don't exist, they will never stop testing how far they can go. Speaking your truth does not mean you have to be loud, angry, or cruel. It means you choose courage over fear. It means you open your mouth and say, "This is not okay. I will not accept this." Your voice is your shield, your way of drawing lines that keep you safe. And when you finally speak, you remind the world that your silence was not weakness. It was a choice. A choice you no longer wish to make at the expense of your self-respect. There will always be people who are uncomfortable with your voice, especially if they benefited from your silence. They may call you difficult, unkind, or arrogant, but those labels are just reflections of their own discomfort. Speaking up threatens the control they had when you stayed quiet, but your responsibility is not to keep them comfortable. It is to keep yourself whole. And wholeness requires honesty. So stop being nice when silence is used against you. Stop letting people mistake your quiet for weakness. Use your silence when it protects your peace, but never when it costs you your dignity. Let your words carry weight, let them draw boundaries, and let them remind others that you are not invisible. Your voice matters, and the moment you start using it, the world begins to see you for who you truly are. There comes a time when you realize that you have been pouring love into everyone else's life while leaving yourself empty. You give your energy, your care, and your encouragement, and your time to make sure others feel seen and valued, yet when you look inward, you find nothing left for yourself. You go to bed tired, not because of the work you've done for your own growth, but because of the work you've done to keep everyone else comfortable. And in that moment, it hits you. You've been nice to everyone except the one person who needs it most, you. It is easy to believe that selflessness is the highest virtue, that giving until you have nothing left makes you good. But if you never pause to refill your own heart, you begin to run on emptiness. You start waking up with no excitement, no spark, no sense of fulfillment, because everything you have has been handed away. Love without self-love, respect without self-respect, time without self-time, these things turn into chains. They don't make you noble, they make you invisible in your own story. When you neglect yourself for too long, resentment starts to creep in. You don't want to admit it, but deep down you feel the unfairness of always being there for others, while no one is truly there for you. You feel drained, taken for granted, and sometimes even unloved, not because others stopped caring, but because you stopped caring for yourself. When you don't prioritize your own needs, you unintentionally teach the world that you don't need love, respect, or time. And the world, being what it is, will believe you. The truth is, loving yourself is not selfish. It is necessary. Respecting yourself is not arrogance. It is survival. Making time for yourself is not laziness, it is restoration. When you invest in yourself, you are not taking away from others. You are ensuring that when you do give, it comes from a place of fullness, not depletion. The strongest love you will ever offer to anyone else will always come from the love you first gave yourself. There will always be people who expect you to keep giving without limit, who depend on your endless niceness. But ask yourself, what happens when you are empty, when you are broken, when you are too tired to go on? The same people who were happy to take from you may not be there to lift you up. That is why you must be the one to protect your own well-being, to be the guardian of your own heart, and to ensure that you are not the only person missing from your circle of care. So stop being nice when the only one left unloved, disrespected, and unseen is you. Start offering yourself the same kindness you so freely give to others. Take back your time, your energy, and your worth. Because if you cannot stand beside yourself with love and respect, no one else's approval will ever fill that void. You deserve the same gentleness, and the same compassion, and the same loyalty that you give to the world. Start giving it to yourself. Kindness is beautiful, but kindness without boundaries destroys you. Remember, being genuine is not the same as being agreeable. There is a quiet kind of strength in being able to say no, and yet so many of us struggle with it. We associate no with rejection, with disappointment, with letting others down, so we avoid it even when it costs us dearly. We nod, we agree, we take on more than we can handle, not out of genuine desire, but out of fear of being misunderstood. But every time you say yes when your heart wants to say no, you betray yourself a little more. That betrayal is silent, but it grows heavy inside you, turning into exhaustion and resentment. Learning to say no is not about becoming harsh or unkind. It is about becoming honest. It is about choosing clarity over confusion, truth over pretense. When you say no with calmness, without anger or guilt, you are not shutting a door, you are simply drawing a line. That line tells the world where your energy ends, where your priorities lie.